This is Yuri with Armand Software, and I will be running through the how-to of Code Engine, more specifically how to add it to your application and how to use it within your application effectively. I will be demonstrating a very simple example of a brand new MVC application. And the first step would be to add to your application the Code Engine package. I've looked it up. Version is 3.0. That's the latest as of yesterday. I added it to my application, and the next step um, I have completed was making some adjustments to the program CS file. First of all, I need to let the program or the application know to use Code Engine, and I'm supplying a number of options along with that command use code engine. So the engine namespace must be a unique namespace that you would use to host all of the dynamically generated types, the iExecutor types. You will see that type later used within your application. Then compiler type. Um, is something that lets the engine know of what syntax to expect within the string, um, the logic that I will be providing from a storage of my choice. Logger is a implementation of iCode Engine Logger that is very simple, just outputs the messages to the console. And provider is something that actually let's go in there. This is where things get a little more interesting. As I already said, provider can be also it's an implementation of the essentially the storage repository, but with very limited responsibilities. All it can do is retrieve what so-called actions. Visit the terminology section in the project page to learn more about the terminology and core concepts. But it essentially is an interface that whose implementation provides a series of subject actions that would need to be taken or applied to a what's called a subject. So in this case, T is the subject type. A key is an optional parameter here for the retrieve method that just gives you a flexibility of returning one or another subset of actions to for the really the combination of T and an optional key, the type T and an optional key. So first thing I do here, and this is remember this is a very simple implementation of this interface. So first of all, I'm checking for the presence of a key. If the key is not present, all I'm doing is returning this default, if you will, say hello greeting action. The only thing that this action does is, as you will see just down here, is update the subject to say or to output a just generic greeting, hello there. Then if the key is Jim, I personalize that greeting with the name Jim, and the same goes for Alice here. And if you look at the simple implementations of the iSubject action, it really is. So iSubject action type operates on message model. The message model itself is it can be an arbitrary model. You can pack as much and make it as complex as you might want to. In this case, I just have a single property of a string type message, and that's the message that I'm eventually going to output within my application. Um, so as you can see, the three different actions perform different sort of operations on this message property. Hello there, Jim, and hello there, Alice. And so we should see the difference within the running application uh, according to which action is actually being applied. Okay, so next, let's go to the only controller that I have at this point. How are we going to use? We've essentially initialized code engine with some parameters. We have supplied its source for the actions based on the type and the key. Now we need to be able to use the result of that work. And how we use it is very simple. You simply inject either iExecutor of message model, the type has to be match, or you can also inject an executor catalog, which kind of works as an indexed or keyed or named resolution within some DI containers. Um, it doesn't return a specific implementation, it returns a collection from which you can then retrieve a specific implementation based on a key. And so we can see that both essentially, with that exception of lookup by the key, both of these endpoints essentially perform the same work. They execute the executor method execute and supply a new initialized message model object. And then out of that execution, they retrieve the message property again and then pass it on to the view. That's all they do. The views are very, let me see, under home. The views are identical. All they do is output the message property of the message model object. Let's start the application and see how it works. I'm going to have to pull this tab over to screen here. All right, so we have the application. We have an extra menu that I had added before I started the demonstration. So the first time we click on it, you're going to notice it takes a little bit of time. And that's because it's essentially starting up, initializing code engine, gets everything ready to be able to retrieve the actions, compile them into a DLL, an in-memory DLL, and then supply it and inject it into the controller. And you can see here we get hello there message. If I will expand this a little bit and I um, switch to the other controller here, endpoint, say hello with key, and supply Alice, it you can see that how quickly it actually compiled and injected that implementation, dynamically compiled implementation of the iExecutor. If I say Jim, here we go, Jim's there. If I change this to I don't know, Carter, there is nothing, and that's because really there is no error at this point. If the key is not found, it just simply it returns an executor with no actions to take against the message property. So nothing is done with the object, the message model. Same uninitialized message model is returned back out of the execute method, which then results in just empty string here. No errors, just no result, really. This concludes my quick demonstration of how Code Engine works and how you can integrate it, incorporate it into your application. If you have any feedback, any ideas, any maybe issue reports, any feedback at all, please let me know on GitHub or YouTube. And I'm looking forward to hearing how well it works within your maybe personal applications or within the applications in companies. Thank you.